Hello everyone, welcome to Talk with Christie. Today we'll look into how to help a child deal with repressed thoughts so as to heal the child from every form of emotional and mental traumas as much as we can. It is good and equally very loving for parents to pay attention to their child's mental health to know if the child is having a proper growth or not. If a child grows with the mindset of being oppressed or denied certain rights that the child feels was something they could enjoy and they were in any form, especially by their parents, denied such rights for just no cause, then that child could be having some thoughts or feelings of deprivation, of being denied certain rights that were theirs and the provision was there. Or if a child sensed that other children were more preferred than them, either from a class setting or at home, and that the child continually gets such interpretation and replay of such things, they tend to be their realities of rejection. For instance, if a child feels that at home other of their siblings are more preferred than them, that child would interpret that treatment to be unloving, and that will make the child have some ugly thoughts. The child will continually suppress, especially when the child is not given the privilege to open up and express themselves. And if that kind of atmosphere is coming from a school setting, maybe from a classroom where a child feels that he or she is not taken as other of their classmates or friends at school, then that child may begin to give certain interpretation to such happenings. And when such things continues over and over, either from home or at school, then the parents should know that such a child may already be having repressed thoughts and feelings, may already be feeling that they are disadvantaged, they are not loved, they are not cared for, they are not welcomed like other persons. While we were saying this, we know it may not really mean so much to a lot of people. They may be like, what's that? But the danger is that such a child will have unnecessary outbursts as a teenager. As a child grows from those pre-teenage days to become a teenager where the child can express his or herself some more, the child will begin to have unnecessary outbursts because the child is feeling that many things are unfair and may become a bully and someone that just lets out things that are not healthy. If the child passes from that teenagehood and gets to proper adolescence, such a child, such an individual may be having episodes of depression, with every small replay of things that looks like rejection. And among adolescents, rejection is something that is very common, because you could walk to a group of friends and want to give them a handshake as a young boy and they are not really responding. That may just make the child feel they are not welcomed. And the adolescents rather will not take it as something that just happened. They will relate it to all the other rejections they've had from school, from their parents, and it's something that may really weigh down the person than the parent will ordinarily think it is, because their world is different from the world of an adult. So the things like that would hurt the adolescents and make them feel more depressed. And we want parents to know that an adolescent that is depressed is not a very healthy person, because they can take any drastic move even when you are not expecting them to do that. So if now this adolescent is not healed and becomes an adult without healing properly from all those negative space of thinking they've been abandoned, they've been rejected, all of those negative things, the adults will feel haunted as the adult grows and becomes a full adult, will feel haunted, and with every small offense that such environment wants to replay, such incidents wants to replay, and that habit will create troubles for that young man or that young woman that has created a belief system that sponsors that they are not loved, they are not cared for. So the person will always feel haunted, and that habit will create trouble for the individual, whether male or female, in their marital relationship. As they grow to be married, they get into relationship, they pick offense over everything, they are angry over everything, they are not happy. The slightest thing you do, you just get to see someone that is not happy with you and is offended. So in their marital relationships, if you don't heal from thoughts of repression, that's those feelings of repression, it will affect their marital relationship. It will definitely affect their interpersonal relationships. They will have issues at work and with their friends, and may ultimately deny the individual of the needed peace and quiet. That's why we're encouraging parents to take some steps. Okay, that's why we're saying these things. Heal the child. It's possible to heal the child. It's easy to heal the child than to allow the thing to become a problem. Okay, so that's why we're emphasizing this today. From the look of things, many parents don't seem to see reasons why they should take these things any step further. Like, what's it about mental health and all of those things? My child is normal, my child goes to school, my child is making good grades, so what else? What's left? Okay, but try to pay more attention, understand the child's mental health, take a step further, try to understand the child's mental states, the child's mental health, because many times parents are quick to give they just immediately give interpretations to their child's action and inaction, not minding if the child is truly healthy or not. That a child is playing and the child is still doing well at school does not necessarily mean that the child is healthy. So with all of those things, they don't try to find out what it is that has been the child's issue. As a parent, whatever interpretation you give about the child does not necessarily mean that what you are seeing the child do is what the child is really feeling. It does not really follow so. That's the child has his or her own psychology, understanding, perception, and interpretation of their own environment and what they picture life to be, which may be entirely different from what the parents thinks it is. So the child has an entirely different environment from what the parents thinks it is. So that the expression the child is giving, the experiences of the child, does not really mean that thing you are saying is what the child is doing. And that's why today on TalkwithChristie, we're encouraging parents. We know parents are doing excellent jobs. They are going all out to see that they make ends for their children, they nurture their children, they help their children achieve great feats. But we're saying today that to all parents, we should try to go the extra mile and really identify with the child's emotions and also align with the child's mental capabilities, vet their responses to know if such a child is truly healthy or not. Okay, that's what we're emphasizing today. Okay, before we go a step further, I want to encourage everyone, all our viewers today, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel, share this video with your friends, with your family members. Alright, leave us a comment in the comment box so we can talk further. If you have suggestions as to what you know works to handle repression, get back to us. Thank you. Okay, so like we're saying, I wouldn't want to divert into other areas, but as key points to you raising a proper child, a healthy child, a well-behaved child or not. If you don't know what the child is seeing and what the child is thinking, you can't come out well with that child. That's what we want parents to understand. Another thing to read, another side to read is that many parents use they suppress their children. I want to come to know, like we're talking about repression in children. Many parents use they suppress their children just to instill control measures into their children. Something I have learned over these years trying to work with families, one key thing I've learned is that parents replay the way they were raised, what their condition has been, their situation has been, the environment in which they were raised, and their experiences. Train them how to raise their children. They replace such things with their children, which is not always the best thing. So many parents that were raised by authoritarian parents oftentimes suppress their children just to instill control measures into the children. And we want to tell parents that such techniques are even worse and not helpful. They are not helpful. Such techniques are never helpful. For instance, if as a child, you have a child, for instance, and your child is an extrovert who likes getting involved in every talk and issues, the child will just get involved in an issue, not minding if those talks were for adults or that the topic is not suitable for their age or not, and the child will just get involved. And as a parent, you don't deal with such issues except when there are visitors around at home. Then the child will show up as usual to talk and to interact, and as a parent, you just come out and you begin to rebuke the child and you just chase the child out. That's not also helping the child, because continually you are sending the wrong signal that may be difficult for the child to understand. Like your message is not helping the child to understand what you want the child to do. Because if you don't talk to this child except when there are visitors and you get to scream and say, no, get out, you are not supposed to be talking, the child will be wondering what you're driving at. So we should understand how to instill the right virtues, the right training into children, and at the right time, so as they grow to become teenagers, adolescents, and adults, they can live up to our expectations. Okay, another side to it is that some parents will just choose, because the child's attitude does not look like what they want, they just choose to shout at the child and shut him or her up, anytime they notice such things, and they will just do that. And even to make things worse, they'll begin to compare the child with another child of theirs that is mostly quiet. Like if you have an extrovert child, like we're saying, you begin to compare the child. Maybe the child's name is Paul. You begin to compare Paul with Michael, and you begin to tell Paul, look at you can talk, you can do this. Look at Michael is very quiet, Michael is very reserved, he's a well-behaved child. According to your own judgment, you are now telling Paul that Michael is well-behaved and very reserved. So such things may create trouble. Okay, what you are doing is that you are suppressing Paul. By doing all of those things, you're suppressing Paul without knowing. You are making Paul have repressed thoughts and feelings about himself, about the family, about the brother, about you, a parent, that you are doing such comparisons. All of those things will just be building up in Paul, and you will not know you are doing that. So that's why we're asking that today. Let's just get this knowledge. All right, that's why we're asking for that. And somehow, if such attitudes continue without any explanation to Paul why you are always just reaching out to him when people are around, he will begin to think and term your attitude to be unloving. So why won't you make out time and continually talk to your son when nobody is there? You sit your son down at your free time and explain and try to create a balance. That's where repression gets its strength from. Repression grows from people that are repressed, thinking that they are not being loved, they are not being cared for, there is no affection, their parents are negligent of them. Those are the things that repression uses to grow in the person. So help the child understand that you love him or her, that you are there. All of those things will help to deal with those thoughts and the feelings, and the child will get better. Okay, if you don't do that and you just mind yourself and you continue to say you are the mother, you are the father, the result is that the child may conform to the environment you are creating, but without understanding how such a child functions, there won't be proper shift in the child's mind. The child will not come to realize what you're trying to help the child do. So talk to the child, talk with the child, and help deal with all of the things. Find out if there are repressed thoughts within and feelings within the child, and learn and look into appropriate ways and measures of getting the child out of such negative zones. Help the child come out of every zone of repression. Let the child feel positive vibes, love, care, and all of these things. That's how to help and bring and prepare a child for proper teenagehood. Now, helping the child heal is helping the child attain healthy teenagehood. Helping the child gain stability is helping the child attain proper teenagehood, and therefore helping the child become a very healthy adult too. So one of such ways that we can help a child live free of repressed thoughts and feelings is by helping the child develop and grow his or her intelligence very well, and train that child in a way that the child enhances, and the training promotes openness so that the child can express his or herself and experiences more often, so that the child does not bottle up things. Okay, so now we want to look at some few points that can help you and your young child come to the place of understanding, the place of love and oneness. So we want to check some of these things. The very first thing I will ask any parents to do, if you want to know if you have to bring your child out of repression or not, is to do a repressed emotion test. Do a repressed emotion test. Know if the child is having any of such things. Okay, always find out if the child is for instance, for you to know if your child is repressed, you have to ask these questions or do these findings yourself. You have to find out if the child is always feeling excited, happy, and relaxed when at school or when in other social functions. But when the child gets close to you, or you are with the child at home, the child gets withdrawn. And if the child has to do anything directly with you, the child is kind of not free, and the child does not want to relate openly with you. It means that the child is saying that what you are doing is unaccepted. The child is sensing some unaccepted attitude from you, and that is why the child is always acting withdrawn, quiet, and all of those funny attitudes where you are. So it could also be that as a parent, such things could happen, could actually be a response to a stimulus that the child does not like, that doesn't really come from you. Maybe it may be coming from the child's school environment, but the child has told you about it and you are not paying attention to what happened. You don't pay attention to details. When the child comes to tell you what they are bothered about and how they are being treated, you are not living up to the child's expectation. You don't pay attention to what is bothering the child, and the child thinks you don't care about what they feel, or that you don't love them much. So when the child is always keeping all of those thoughts within, so that's the first thing. So if you find out that your child is living within that space, then you could suspect that there could be some signs of repression within your child. So you could start from there. And if you've done that and there are signs of repression within your child, then the first thing you should do is learn to empathize. Learn to empathize with the child. When you sense sudden or repeated attitude of not wanting or willing to push any topic, like for instance, you just want to put up a topic with your child and the child is not willing to talk much with you. The child is withdrawn, is not in the mood, always not really relaxed or willing to talk with you. As the child is growing, maybe at the age of 7 now, 8, 9, 10, the child is always withdrawn. Then you get to calm down and try to empathize with their feelings and get some details with the child. Calm down and try to understand why the child is functioning like that, understand what is happening to their mental health and all of the things they may be going through, so that the child can get talking with you. That's the second thing. The third thing you do is allow it, let it be about the child. Okay, while you begin to sense that your child is repressed, don't think it's about you, think it's about the child. Okay, the principal thing is to be focused on the child and stabilize the child's emotion and restore that child to wholeness. That's a principal thing. It's not about your office as a mother, your office as a father. Those are not significant. Those are not important. The important thing is be about the child, see how to restore wholeness to the child, and try to create a place of openness for your child that can help bring a balance to your communication, your relationship, your dealings with the child. Try to instill and install a healthy balance into it. And if there has not been any, try to create one as a parent. Do well to create a balance if you don't have any. Alright, so the fourth thing I suggest parents should do is build the child's emotional intelligence. Okay, like we said, help the child think. Social intelligence, emotional intelligence, mental intelligence. Help the child think. Give the child a broad spectrum, like help the child reason deeper so that the child can learn to tolerate things that are not suitable for them. They can learn to sometimes overlook situations that are very common. Okay, so build the child's emotional intelligence and help the child understand the pressures you may be dealing with as a parent, because sometimes the parents may just be frustrated. So help the child understand that you are trying to also heal yourself of certain challenges and try to ensure that you both come to a place of understanding. You understand yourselves and work out a way in which you can both function and be happier. All right, thank you for watching Talk with Christie. Thank you for watching this very video up to now, but much more. I will say a very big thank you for practicing the things and the concepts we have mentioned in today's video. Try to put them to work. Get back to us and tell us how what you've learned is helping your relationship, your family, your children. That's of most importance to us. Our end note today is that you help your child as a parent come out of every form of repression, every form of repressed thoughts and feelings. Learn to empathize with their feelings. Help your child build emotional intelligence that is top-notch. Let it be about the child. Let everything be about the child, and express your love in a way that your child understands that that's love. Okay, go ahead, subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos. Leave us a comment in the comment section. Tap the notification bell. Stay blessed. We love you.